we have created a HTML file, I'm going to show you how to create a PHP file. So to create a PHP file, you have to add a PHP extension to the file. So as you ls, we see in index. We're just gonna mv index.html and we're gonna call it index.php. So sudo index.html to index.php. And if we do ls now, we can see we have a PHP file. So now we can just do sudo nano in. Oh wait, something went wrong. It's not mv index.html. Sudo mv index.html to index.php. Enter ls. Okay, so now we have our index.php file. To see if PHP is working, I've told you earlier that you can because we did /info.php and didn't work, you can create your own info.php page. So we're gonna do sudo nano index.php, and we are gonna comment this all out. So to create a HTML comment, this marks that we are gonna start a comment, and to end the comment, we're just gonna do exclamation mark close. Actually, I forgot how to close an HTML comment. HTML comments. So if you don't know something, you can always Google it. So it's actually. And if we save this now, we refresh the page. So let's go to localhost, and by it should if you rename it to index.html, it should still work. So as you can see now, it's empty. If we look at the page source, you can view page source. So what you type in here, when you go to the website, right-click View Page Code, you can see the what's typed inside of the HTML file, and we can see that we commented everything out. So when you use a comment, it's basically it's a comment, so it's a reminder for the developer. So the code, or actually the interpreter or whatever is used in the browser, will ignore this. So this is ignored code, but we can read it if we view page source. So we are gonna use a PHP function, and you can tell the browser that you are using PHP code by doing question lesser than sign question mark PHP, which says this is the start of the PHP file, just like how we did a comment, and this tells you this is the end of the PHP file. And in PHP you have a function called PHP info, and we have, so basically you call the function, you can call the function by calling the function name, and then open parentheses and close parentheses, and the semicolon basically tells you we finished our first line. So that means that the browser knows then, or the browser or the server will know this is where the next line of code should go to. So this is the end of the line, next line. And if we refresh the page now, we can see our PHP is working because it displays our PHP information. So this function basically prints out this entire PHP info output. So that's basically what it is. I will explain what a function is a little bit later. Before I do that, I'm gonna show you how to display information on the browser using PHP. Oh, by the way, if you do view page source here, PHP code, you cannot see PHP code when you do view page source. And that's not because we removed it, because we have not saved this file yet, but that's because, as you can see, you can also not see this. That's because PHP code does not get interpreted by the browser, but by the server. So you cannot, from the front end, you cannot see PHP code. It's impossible. So to display information using PHP, you can use the echo command. So let's see, we want to display the paragraph hello world. We do -p and then hello world. And we save this, and if we refresh the page now, you can see that hello worlds get displayed. And if you do view page source, we cannot see it because it's HTTP code. So but we can still display hello world using the echo command. And I want to explain the concept about variables. So you can create a variable in PHP by using the $. And let's give this and then you have to give it a name. We will call it test. And then the value you want to store inside, and then the equal signs, and then the value you want to store inside the variable. Also, everything which is in quotation means you have in programming, you have different data types. You have numbers and strings and float, and I will just explain a few of them. So you have numbers which do not need a quotation. So you can do 5. And now we save the number 5 inside this test variable, and we can use the echo command. And then the name of the variable. Whoa, what happened here? So if we do test now, it will not show echo test, but it will show the value which is stored in here, because it will see the $, and will understand this is a variable, and it will display 5. So if I save this and we refresh the page, we will see the number 5. And you can also save string. So if this is a quotation, so let's say if we do a letter here, let's say A, we save this and we refresh the page, you will see the letter A. So in PHP it automatically detects that this is not a number but a string, so it's automatically detected. But usually in some programming languages you have to use a quotation to represent string, or else you will get an error. But PHP automatically detects if it's a string or a number. But for example, if we do 45 and 45, it will give us the results here for 45 or 45. But if we do quotation mark, it means it will be a string and not a number. So this will not be the number 45 or 45, but the string. So if we refresh now, you will get oh, it's still automatically detected. Okay, so but basically you have different data types. So numbers are under string, and you have integers, which are numbers. Okay, so now that we have explained the variable, you have also something called an array. And an array can store multiple data. And to store an array in PHP, you just create a variable, and we call it test. And then we do equal sign, and then we have to call a function called array. And then we can, for example, value 1. Then we create an equal sign arrows. Will, for example, equal the value hello. And then the value 2 will echo world. Let's say just world, and we close it. So now we have an array. That means we have multiple, in this test we have multiple data inside our variable. So if we refresh it, if we refresh it now, you can see it will print an array. It will not print the data. And if we wanted to print the data from the array, we have to use the key. So this is the key and this is the value. So if we want the first data, we just press 1. We press the key, we save it, and we can see worlds. And that's because I've created a mistake here. Usually 0 means what computers begin counting from zeros. This should be the 0 value. This should be the second value. I think because we created we did have the same. If we refresh it now, it should say hello. And that's because we we had 1 1, which was an error from me. So it automatically went back to the default setting, which is this would be 0. But we call this 3 and this 2. So, and if we wanted the access 2 from the array, we press 2 here, refresh this page, and we see hello. And if we want world, we want to access 3, we want the key 3, and we'll use word and refresh, and you see world will display here. And if you want to show the entire array, there's a function called print r. And if we do $test here, and programming links are capital case sensitive, so if we did test here with a capital T, it will not work. But if you want to print an entire array, you have to use the print r function, and it will show us the entire array, which will say the key 2 has the value hello, and the key 3 has the value world. So you can use this, and I also want to show you if you use pre HTML tag. I have to actually use this outside our PHP. And also, let's remove this. If you refresh it now, it will show, if you use the pre PHP HTML tag, it will actually print the array in a better format, so it's a little bit cleaner. So that's what I wanted to explain about array. I'm gonna do a short explanation what a function is also, because we are using functions, for example, the print r function. So I'm gonna explain what the functions, how to create. We're gonna create a simple function. So basically, a function is a reusable code. So we are using print r function, which are function which are already in our PHP. So it's very useful. So we don't have to create them ourselves. So if you want to create a function yourself, you just use function, then the function name. We just say hello, and then you open parenthesis, close parenthesis, open bracket, and then what you want the function to do. Let's say we want the function to print hello world, and then we've created our function, and then we have to call our function. So to call our function, we have to use this. So we say that it's the end of the line, and to call a function, you just do the function name and you close it. And let's call our function twice, and that's why we create functions, so we can use our code, we can reuse our code easily. So if we refresh it, if we refresh the page now, we can see we called hello world twice. Oh, and we can see here it's it shows us hello world. Without going to the next line, we can use /n to go to the next line. So if we refresh now, it should go to the next line. So /n basically tells you go to the next line. And that's what a function is. So you use the function name, and then what you want the function to do. Sometimes you can add values to a function, but we are just gonna so for example, we could let's say here you create a variable hello, and then you can, let's say just lol. So this value, so inside the parentheses, will go here. So that's when you enter a value, and we can, instead of using hello world here, we can just do hello, and every time we call the function, we can give it some other value. So here we want to say bye, and if we refresh now, it will echo. The first time we call it, it will echo lol. So this lol will be saved in this variable, and the second time it will say bye. So if we refresh now, it will say hello lol bye, not hello lol. So that's basically what a function does.